I'm sorry if this is going to be a boring session, but I think it's going to be a very good session. No, this will be even more boring than Steve's session. No. Fake news. Fake news. So I want to go, so I did a bit of a study on cognitive biases, and there are hundreds. A human is riddled with cognitive biases, and we all are susceptible to all of them. And I was thinking, which are the ones that really screw you over in trading? And I narrowed it down to about 37. So if you can, we'll come back to this. And basically a long time ago, years ago, this was like probably 10 years ago, I created this fictional character called Danny the Dabbler. And this is, what?
Was that Steve 10 years ago with hair?
That looks like him, actually. And Danny the Dabbler is your typical bloke that went down to the pub, is a proper geezer, you know, is, oh yeah, and basically he displays all of the negative characters of a trader. So he's high and mighty, gambles, overconfident, poser, no stats, basically every bad habit you could possibly think of, this is Danny the Dabbler. And I think we all know of a Danny the Dabbler, or you have been a version of Danny the Dabbler yourself at some point in your life. I personally can attest, I have been this twat here when I was younger. So, but these negative things are just negative cognitive biases that are letting these overrun his head. But he's completely blissfully, naively unaware that he's being ruled by his inner chimp. And this chimp has malware, which is basically all of these bad traits, because he has an untrained mind. So as I said, I went down a big dark hole, or rabbit hole, whatever, and there were hundreds and hundreds of biases. So 37 of them, I thought, yeah, we can somewhat narrow it down. Oh, by the way, in my opinion, I'm sure there's more, but we don't have much time today. So, and it's just past lunch, and I'm personally feeling knackered and tired and sleepy. So you guys are probably feeling worse. So these are the ones I narrowed it down to. So what we're going to do is we're going to quickly go through all 37 biases. And I'd like you to rate yourself out of 10 on how applicable that particular bias is for you. And afterwards, we'll go through some fixes. So if you can get a piece of paper. Right. Do we have enough paper? All right.
One left.
Cheers. Do we have enough paper? Do you have paper? Okay, so on your paper, if you can put it like this, so at the top is your rating bar, which is 0 to 10. 10, you're an absolute muppet for that bias. 0, whatever. It's going to be a range of feelings, isn't it? And then down the left-hand column, hopefully it'll be 1 to 37. So don't worry, this is not a test or anything. This is hopefully me prodding your brain to help realize you may have a bias that you're not aware of. I'll just wait till everyone's ready. And as I went through these myself, I realized there were about 3 or 4 biases that I had and I wasn't aware of. So I thought that was quite helpful. Right, everyone ready?
So 10 is very...
Yeah. Yeah. So 1 to 10, yeah. Yeah. No. So this is how strongly you feel about that bias. And then on this column, all the way down to 37. It's right, you can do it as we go. Oh my God, this is like an IQ test as well. So, do Josh, you failed. Okay, so you can write down as we go, 1, how you feel about it, 2, okay? So we'll do this slowly to begin with. Jesus Christ. I'm going to start with social and emotional biases. So number 1. So Josh, on the left-hand column, write 1. And then how you feel about this, between 1 to 10. So attribution bias, explaining events in biased ways, favoring internal or external causes. So Bitcoin hit 100K and it happened because you said it would happen because of an on-chain metric or whatever. That would be an example of attribution bias. Or I really love Casper because I'm the one that found it and showed, and it went up because... yeah. Touche. Yeah, very guilty. 0 is, meh, not me. Right, number 2. So draw a 2 in the left-hand column, Josh. Sorry, that's the last time, I'll drop it. Actor-observer bias. Attributing our own actions to situational factors, others to personality. So, for example, the reason my business failed was because COVID wasn't my fault. But the reason her business failed is because she's an idiot. Or, you know, that's an example of that. Or the reason my trade failed was because the Federal Reserve paused rates this month. But the reason you guys lost your trade is because you had poor risk management. So actor-observer bias, that's one way of thinking of it. Fundamental attribution error, overemphasizing personality traits as reasons for behavior. Overemphasizing personality traits as reasons for behavior. So it's a bit like saying, oh, I lost that trade because I'm always unlucky. I'm just an unlucky person, that's why I can't make it in business or as a trader. So that's fundamental attribution error. Number 4, in-group bias, favoring members of your own group over outsiders. So it's a case of, you know, political parties. You're a Republican, I'm a Republican, we can be friends. Democrats or whatever, no, they're evil, or, you know, vice versa. Or, you know, there's a degree of racism in that as well. In-group bias historically has been, you know, the worst case of that is genocide. Hitler, in-group bias. Number 5, outgroup bias, negative perceptions of groups different from your own. Oh shit, have I got these the wrong way around? Favoring members of your own group over outside, yeah. So I prefer RT members because they're more switched on than the average crypto dabbler. That's in-group bias, because I love you lot. Outgroup bias is Hitler. Are you a mini Hitler? Yeah, so like anti-Semitism, stuff like that. Oh, yeah, okay, so let's bring it back to trading.
Some people, I can see people being in that group, which is just a natural tendency of perhaps even family or
yes, true.
work at groups. I think
let's bring it to trading. Yeah, sorry. I was just trying to explain. So negative perception of groups different from your own. So they could be like, oh, Bitcoin hodlers. They are slightly less intelligent crypto holders. Sorry? Yeah, tribal, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, so outgroup bias will be like, anyone that holds Bitcoin and has left it on an exchange is an idiot. Fact. Sorry, sorry. Number 6, similarity heuristic, preferring options similar to familiar choices. Preferring options similar to familiar choices. So that would be a bit like, you're quite familiar with buying stuff on Binance, so you'll only buy coins that are on Binance. So, we all fallen for that. There have been times where I've wanted to buy a coin, but it's on an exchange that I'm not on, and I just can't be asked. So that will be a form of similarity heuristic. Or for example, I'm quite into AI crypto coins at the moment. So I'd much prefer to buy a crypto project than I would a gaming project. Number 7, conformity bias. Adjusting one's beliefs or behavior to match the group. So there's potentially an element of that in RT. Are you becoming addicted to Kaz and Tao because Siam is addicted to Kaz and Tao? I don't know, maybe. Is Steve dressing more degen because he's hanging around me more or not? Yeah, he is actually. I'm quite proud that I never bought a stupid NFT. How many do you have? A lot. Yes, I never bought a monkey. Number 8, bandwagon effect. Conforming to majority opinion regardless of personal belief. Now, a lot of people do that. In fact, I'm the complete opposite of bandwagon effect when it comes to property. I've always not liked in property investing because lost opportunity cost. But most people get into buy-to-let or whatever because of bandwagon effect. Or am I leading you guys into bandwagon effect? Because I'm so tuned into the December 2025 bang out date. Are you guys potentially bandwagoning on or jumping on my bandwagon? Maybe. Yeah, you are, aren't you? Yes, Anita, I've taught you well. That's so true, isn't it? Shit. Yeah, so February 2026 is my new date. Number 9, false consensus effect. Overestimating the number of people who share your beliefs. Yeah, I mean, again, that could be with crypto. It could be like, hey, we love Casper, it's amazing, or BitTensor. But because, especially on Twitter, if you start searching for stuff like that, your Twitter feed is always going to be Kaz and Tao, Kaz and Tao. So you may think because Twitter has put you, or Facebook, or has put you in your own echo chamber, you probably think everyone is looking at it. But in reality, the average Joe still doesn't even know what Bitcoin is. We're still very early. Halo effect, number 10. Allowing one positive trait to influence overall perception. Yeah. Again, that's more shit. So that's really, the only thing I can think of is, are you falling for halo effect with me in RT? That's one way. Like, I don't know. How does that apply to trading? I guess you could potentially fall in love with one particular aspect of a crypto project, and that will influence your overall perception of that project, but you could overlook really shitty tokenomics, perhaps, like we did with rebasing DAOs. 3-3, yes. Yeah, rebasing DAOs is a prime example. Horns effect, number 11. Allowing one negative trait to influence overall perception is the opposite. Now, everyone suffers from horn effect. We always do. So, you know, for example, the founder of Wonderland, Daniel Siestagali, I will never touch a crypto project that he ever does ever again. So there is an element of horn effect there, because he's already shown that he's made very bad moral judgment calls there. So that, like, he sat on the fact that Sifu was a con artist for what, 4 months, 3 months before it got leaked. So for me, if I was a director of if I was him at Wonderland, the second I found out, I would have gone, right, boot. Guess what, community, I found this. Yeah. But the fact that he tried to hide it a bit. So yeah. So sometimes horn effect can help you. It's not necessarily a bad thing, horn effect. One thing I want to add with horns effect is that humans are very good at pattern recognition. So if I walk into the middle of the savannah years ago, or even now, am I more at risk of being chased by a lion or a tiger or whatever? Yes, I am. Is it safer to hide in the bushes and the tree, in the tree line? Yes. So that's more of pattern recognition. Or, so yeah, sometimes horn effect will act, has helped us actually through evolution. Those that didn't get eaten survived and procreated. Number 12, overconfidence bias. Exaggerating one's abilities or knowledge. Yeah. I think we all suffer from that at some point. Like if you were to ask and do a survey of every UK adult with a driving license, how good they think they are at driving, everyone rates themselves as an above average driver. There's overconfidence bias there, but we know for actual stats. Sorry?
And they rate everybody else
as worse, yeah. Same comes with intelligence. Most people think they're more intelligent than they actually are. Same with driving, same with all sorts of stuff. Same as how good you are in bed. There's all sorts of stuff. Loss aversion bias. The pain of losses feels greater than the pleasure of equivalent gains. I've actually got the opposite of that. Number 14, sunk cost fallacy. Continuing with a course of action due to past investments, even if unproductive. Do you... You're not married, are you? Yeah. Continue with a course of action due to past investments, even if unproductive. Yeah, it's like keep on buying your shitcoin as it breaches base support to zero. I don't know. Status quo bias, number 15. Preference for maintaining the current state of affairs. Again, that could be as simple as I'm only going to stick with Binance or Mexi because I can't be asked to open up another exchange. And I had an element of that, by the way, a few days ago. I wanted to buy, no, it wasn't Tau Inu. It was Cubic. I was looking into buying Cubic, just a really tiny amount because I think it's a shitcoin. But you can only buy it on Trade Ogre or Safe Trade, and I was like, can't be asked. So I didn't do it. But yeah, so if there's an element of me falling susceptible to status quo bias. Number 16, anchoring bias. Over-relying on the first piece of information encountered when making decisions. People do that with headlines in the news every day. They form an opinion based on very little data. And that anchoring bias is normally on the headline. Or a tiny bit of information given to them by what they deem to be a trusted person. Or, yeah. So there could be anchoring bias here today, by the way. I've been like, power law is amazing. You could just take that at face value. What you need to do now is go and do your own rabbit hole digging and Google and YouTube the shit out of the power law for yourself. So you should always corroborate interesting ideas with your own and back it up with your own research. So all I'm trying to do today is prod you to do more research in that. 17, availability heuristic. Judging probability based on how easily examples come to mind. Now, why did I include that one? Judging. Okay, availability heuristic. So this could be a case of looking at a chart and you're always looking for, let's say, double tops for a reversal. And you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely the top because this looks like it had a double top or whatever. That's a very poor example. 18, framing effect. How information is presented can influence decision making. Fancy presentations can often influence you into doing something which isn't ideal. So again, very prevalent for crypto. In fact, the opposite happened with me with BitTensor. Originally, when I first looked at it, I went to the website and went, this is a crock of shit, I'm out. So I had the opposite of framing effect because it was presented really badly. The whole white paper was just too confusing, so I was like, nah, I'm out. So yeah, framing effect is on the positive and the negative. Confirmation bias, yeah, we all know that one. Seeking and favoring information that confirms existing beliefs, ignoring contradictory evidence. So, am I obsessed with December 2025 because I want it to be there because my original model said that, and I'm looking for other bits that sort of point there? Or are some of the other models pointing to, you know? So you've got to be aware of your own confirmation bias. 20, prospect theory. People place higher value on avoiding losses than achieving gains. That's most of the population, by the way. Anyone that's ever fancied setting up a business but has never done it, you've fallen foul of prospect theory. Because it's safer and comfier and easier to just do your job instead of quitting your job and doing a startup. 21, hyperbolic discounting, valuing immediate rewards more than future rewards. So yeah, opposite of delayed gratification. What's the saying? Bird in the hand is worth more than two in the bush, or whatever it is. That's basically hyperbolic discounting. Do you take profits now rather than let it run? If tomorrow morning Tau spikes up to $1,000, do you take profit? Or do you stick to the, sorry? Yeah, okay, yeah. But do you like get out? Or do you stick to the plan? Yeah, personally, I'd sidestep that. But that's, yeah, it's different. No, I'd be out, Jesus. Yeah, that is actually, yeah. Yeah, so bad example. Don't use me as an example for that. The average, yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like for the average Joe, if they're in an asset and it's spiked crazy high, would they be like, let's take it now because it could go back to zero or whatever? 22, misattribution of memory. Falsely remembering the source or details of an event. I'm not good at this one. If you have a bad memory, you will be foul of this. So I can't remember a thing. 23, self-memory bias. Distorting memories of the past to enhance self-image. Can't think of that. Distorting memories of the past, enhance self-image.
Maybe when you're talking to someone, you kind of brag about something that happened in the past that you completed.
Exactly. I made 20x on this trade, you should definitely do this, when in fact you made 2x. Or yeah, exactly. Yeah. 24, stereotyping, applying fixed attributes to a group of people. Again, that could just be pattern recognition. How does that apply to trading? Sorry?
They're a member of or maybe an FCO of a self-facing DAO, therefore they must be trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Oh, in fact, I've fallen foul of this recently. The founder of BitTensor is ex-DARPA and ex-Google. So I thought, he must know his shit. So that, yeah, that's an example of going, this person is shit hot. No, that's Const. So Jacob Steves. He's ex-DARPA and ex-Google.
So I mean, the crypto Cubic. You were saying you only liked it because the founder was
Oh yeah, the Qubit founder. He's the founder of IOTA. Yes. What's this? On Come From Behind, or Come From Beyond on Twitter or whatever. Sorry, Come From Beyond. That's his. His Twitter handle is Come From Beyond. Sorry. I spend too much time talking to Josh online. No. Yeah, exactly that.
Negative cognitive bias was that made you say that twice now.
Yeah, I don't know. 25, maybe. Moving on. Cognitive dissonance. Yes. The discomfort felt when holding conflicting beliefs. If you're a trader, this should be every freaking day of your life. I wake up and out of bed confused, always, sometimes. In fact, on a daily basis, I wake up and go, first thing I check TradingView, and then I go, should I be in right now, or should I not? And I'm constantly thinking, have I? So I do a full sort of reanalysis of the portfolio every morning. But that can also lead into another bias, by the way. So because I have this cognitive dissonance, this constant feeling of discomfort, etc., because I see why the economy is about to crash, or why it's not about to crash, or why this is going up and down, what happens is over, let's say, a year, every morning I wake up and go, yeah, and I re-establish my belief that, yeah, I know Casper's going to go to whatever. Day after day after day after day, yes, definitely going up. If you're not careful, if you're not cognizant, after a while, you're self-conditioning your brain that Casper can only go up. So when an opportunity arises where Casper looks like it's about to fall over, you may have had a year's worth of bullshitting to yourself, no, Casper's only going up from now. And if you're not very careful, you could be holding the bags as it crashes. Now, one good example of me not falling for that was Olympus Dow. Do you remember how I said to everyone, when it breaches base support, get the frick out of it. And I got out at 850. And that was a great trade. One time I didn't. And then a few months later, I fell foul of staying in Wonderland too long. So 2 examples which effectively cancelled each other out to a degree. 26, belief perseverance. Clinging to false beliefs despite contradictory evidence. Sort of explained that already. Or just now. Belief perseverance. As a trader, you really have to be happy to have egg on your face and pivot on your stance or position. So, yes, I said December 2025 a lot, but if I have new data that says otherwise, I won't give a shit. I will exit in November with Anita. Yeah, summer 2025, yeah. 27, naive realism, assuming others perceive the world the same way you do. That's even more so these days, especially now we have such divisive topics like COVID and Trump and war and Ukraine and China. Like, there's so many things, religion, Bitcoin versus Ethereum, whatever, yeah. It's very easy on social media to end up in the same echo chamber and cohort. 28, hindsight bias, overestimating the predictability of past events after they occur. That is prime for technical analysis. Oh look, the high has hit this line always. It's definitely going to be 100K Bitcoin. Whoops, it didn't hit the line this time. 29, planning fallacy. Underestimating the time and effort needed to complete tasks. Everyone falls for that on a daily basis. Yeah. Top tip, by the way, this is why, so the one thing, I used to fall for this a lot. When I left the Air Force, I became like, and I did the self-help journey, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, went to all the self-help, personal development courses out there. I became a real note taker. I'd take great pleasure in buying a nice notepad, a nice pen, and I'd write everything. I'd go to these meetings, these 2-day conferences, and I'd come back with like 10 pages full of shit I'll never read again. And with the biggest to-do list under the sun, because after those 2 days, you're all riled up. I'm going to become a billionaire. I'm going to do this and this massive to-do list, which you never look at again. And you end up with this list person. Here's my to-do list. And then it's like, oh, shit. And you then become, every week, really sad and disappointed in yourself because you've ticked like 4 things out of a list of 20. And so the next week, oh, God, I've got to move stuff from this week over to the next week. And you're just carrying a baggage of to-dos, which you'll never actually end up ticking. So then I thought, I'm going to be a bit smarter. I'm going to have 2 lists, an A list and a B list. B list is important but not urgent. A list is urgent and important. So I'm going to write all my B's and A's down, and I'll only focus on the A list. And if a B is important enough, eventually it'll turn urgent. I did that for a year. Better than just standard note-taking. Still not good, because again, every freaking week I'll be dragging shitloads of B and A lists to the next week. And when you write, if you are a list person, you'll never know when you're going to accomplish something. It could be like update the website, to update the About Me page on my website. Oh, in my head it's like a 15-minute job. Is it? You try and log into the website, can't find the password. Oh, okay, reset password. Can't get into my freaking emails, can't reset. But before you've even logged into your freaking website, that could be half an hour. And then you're like, where do I find the... So before you know it, a 20-minute job turns into a 3-hour job. So here's my hack. And I've done this for 4 years now. I live out of my Google Calendar. Nothing in my life happens if it doesn't go into my Google Calendar. Every single thing I do on a daily or weekly or on a daily basis goes in here. And I always triple the time it takes. So if, let's say, Steve said, like recently, like Steve's like, let's meet for breakfast or brunch. I don't do breakfast. I'll go, yeah, cool. I will block out 3 hours in my diary. 1, because it'll take me a bit of time to get out of bed. 2, I have to drive to the cafe, meet up, whatever, and then drive home. So a 1 hour coffee catch up, I always block out 3 hours. And guess what? It does take that long just for one meeting. That was just not the one time, it was twice. Does anyone know the story of how we met Steve or how I met Steve? I went through about 8 accountants over 10 years. I was literally like on Tinder for accountants. You're shit. And then eventually I came across Steve, and I don't know, did you contact me first? How do we?
Quite a mutual friend, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it turns out my elder son, who's 7, is in the very same class as his youngest daughter, Floss. And I was like, oh, you're town close, Daddy. And we're like, oh, our kids are in the same freaking class. Oh, let's meet for coffee at the goat shed or whatever it was. I forgot. So he went to the goat shed. I was still in bed. Sorry. And then we rearranged, didn't we? Yeah. And then I was late.
You forgot, but you were released up, so you were then half an hour late by the time it took you to drive there.
Great first impressions. But I haven't been late since, have I? Yeah, that's good. Yeah, probably the worst first impressions ever. Anyway, long story short, I put everything in my calendar. So to the point where next week, I've got a pretty busy week. So if anyone says, can you just do this? I'll be like, yes, but it's going to fit in from not next week, but the week after. And that way, if I've got stuff to do, like a to-do list, like I've got to do something on my website or whatever, it will go in my calendar. And I know for a fact that because I'm really anally disciplined with this thing, I know when I'll get stuff done. So if I've got a bunch of stuff that needs doing, I'll know to the day, or no, to the hour, it will be completed by. So, and I'm never dragging lists. It's very rare that I get to a week and go, oh shit, I haven't done this. Because it's a habit now, every hour or whatever, I go, what's next today? Okay, cool. And that way I don't have to fill up my brain with bollocks that I have to drag around. Because that's what you do in a to-do list on a notepad. You're like, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. For me, I dump it in here and I go, what am I doing today? Good day today, or this is going to be a shit day. Like I know...
Emergency occurs and you have to take care of something that's unexpected.
Yeah, and that's why you triple the amount of time. So a lot of the times, if you think something's going to be an hour, sometimes you can get it done in 20 minutes. Then you've got a bunch of time to play Call of Duty. Or, yeah. Anyway, that's my little hack, and that has changed my productivity. So even though I get out of bed 11:30 every morning, I'm still very productive. So, yeah. I got out of bed at midday the other day. It was great. Sorry?
As reported by the Sun.
Oh God, I hate that article. Anyway, let's just skip over that. 30, apophenia, seeing patterns in random data. Yep, I struggle with that sometimes. There's not always a pattern. Sometimes things are just random. 31, curse of knowledge, assuming others have the same knowledge as you. Try explaining what bit tensor is to someone that doesn't understand what Bitcoin is. Good luck, you can't. Try explaining what Casper is to someone that doesn't understand what Bitcoin is. You're still going to struggle. So, yeah. So sometimes I think, oh, everyone knows what Bitcoin is, whatever. Yeah. There's levels of understanding, and you have to, yeah. These days, I just say I play with magic internet money, and they go, oh yeah, you're a gambler. I'm like, yeah, whatever. 32, egocentric bias. Difficulty seeing things from another's perspective. My wife used to say this a lot about me. But no. Yeah. I guess as a trader, you need to always have conflicting beliefs in your head, and you should always look for the opposing thesis of a play. 33. Illusion of control. Overestimating one's control over events. This could be, yeah, crypto events and all sorts. Someone asked us a question about this earlier, about the December 2025. Is everyone going to front run that date? So we are assuming that the whole world is looking at that date, when in fact it's just our tiny little community. I don't know if any other people are looking at that. Whenever I do glimpse at Twitter or whatever, most people are thinking that there's going to be some sort of shortened cycle. I keep coming across a lot, that it's not going to last that long, or the opposite, that this cycle is going to be much longer because of the extending cycles and all that, but who knows. 34, optimism bias, overestimating the likelihood of positive outcomes. 35, placebo effect. Improvement due to expectation, not the treatment itself. There's an opposite to that as well, nocebo effect. Did you know in the 80s or 90s there was a study, a medical study, where they tried to heal, I forgot, they took a group of people with some ailment and they gave them sugar pills, saying, look, this is a magical cure for your ailment. And they gave another cohort negative news. So they're studying placebo and nocebo at the same time. And then obviously they had a third test, control cohort, etc. And the placebo effect worked really well. So these sugar pills that did nothing for this ailment, I can't remember what it was, actually cured those people. So obviously there must be something, the power of the brain had helped cure themselves. But what they didn't expect is that they told some people that they're dying of liver cancer or liver failure, and one person died of liver failure. When they did a post-mortem on him, perfectly functional liver. And it wasn't just one death, it was like one death and a few more illnesses. So the nocebo group suddenly created illnesses out of the blue. So the brain basically made them ill, and they still can't explain the death. That could have just been coincidence. I don't know. Oh, really? Wow. Cats do that as well, don't they? Shit. Nocebo, yeah, it is big. So what do you think happens when you tell the whole world that there's this crazy plague killing everyone?
The CDC
Anxiety, yeah.
The most anxious people about COVID were the most likely to die of COVID.
Yeah, they were. 1 in 3 Americans are on antidepressant pills. Statistically, one of you two are on antidepressant pills. No? So it used to be 1 in 4, but over the last 2 years, that has gone up a lot.
But you know what? Do you know when they first brought out Prozac, placebo worked better. But in America, you're allowed to advertise drugs on television.
Yeah, you are.
They started the advertising campaign, and Prozac started to work better because people believed it would work.
It's interesting, isn't it? The brain is very powerful.
It's not right, it shouldn't work. It breaks the brain.
Yeah, we don't understand a lot about our brain. Anyway, number 36, self-serving bias, attributing successes to internal factors and failures to external factors. Yeah, Danny the Dabbler, I got that trade right because I'm awesome. But I lost that other trade because Gary Gensler, I don't know.
Like I won because I'm clever and I lost because you're stupid.
Yes. 37, spotlight effect, overestimating how much others notice and judge you. I say this to Ellie all the time when she's going out for like a meal or whatever. She's like, do I look okay in this? And I always say, no one gives a shit, honey. Yeah, I do. It's true. No, I made a pledge to her that I will always tell her everything with uncensored and no filter. And she still asks my opinion on how she looks. I still say no one gives a shit. Everyone's still so caught up in how they look and how they're feeling that they're not going to notice whether you're wearing black shoes or brown shoes, honey. No one gives a shit.
But you look stunning to me, darling.
I say that sometimes, yeah. Yeah. No, but if I genuinely think she looks great, I will tell her. But if I don't... Oh my God. I sound like such a bad husband. I'm a nice person, Annie, honestly. Anyway. Yeah. I suffer from this a lot, by the way, spotlight effect, because when someone says something nasty about me online, I take that to heart. I've got very thin skin, and I think the whole world has just seen that hater calling me out on something. So that's, out of all these 37, this is the one that affects me the most, because I'm a softie. But in reality, if someone has a go at me on Twitter, how many people are going to see that tweet? 50? Let's say it's 500. Does it actually matter? And at the end of the day, no one gives a shit. They care more about what's going on in their lives than, yes.
Is there a crypto example for that?
Overestimating how much others notice and judge. No, that's more of a general life thing.
It was like thinking everybody's into cats because you are.
How much notice and judge you? Sort of, I guess, yeah.
Maybe not wanting to ask questions. No one gives a shit.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, quite possibly.
It's like what you said, everyone's in their own little crypto Twitter, so they feel like everything is revolving around that and everyone's thinking at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, anyway, they are all of the things. So before who's got a 10 on one of them? Yes, what's your 10?
Number 13. I can't remember what it was.
30. Oh my God, it's going to take. Loss aversion bias. What's your 10? Why does that apply to you?
Just because I actively know it, so I have to consciously, so anyone looks at me and think I'm probably not that loss averse. I purposely have to go after that. So if, like crypto at the minute, when it's been on a big downtrend, I will not look at it, I pretend it doesn't exist, I struggle with it. And so I'm a bad trader, hence why I don't really do much myself. And then like when Cass was going up, I'll check it every 2 minutes. and because of that trade, even like the NFTs and that sort of stuff, I know they're a gamble, and I force myself into those roles because I know I have this bias.
Interesting. See, we're the opposite. I actually get really anxious when markets are pumping, but when things are crashing, I love it. Like you remember when Tau crashed from like, was it 300 and a bit, all the way down to 220, 200. On Telegram, I was like, this is amazing, buy more. Whereas,
A single post of yours for a week. I can see counting as well, the frequency and
yeah.
So I'm aware of it and have to force it. That's probably my biggest one.
Without wanting to sound like stereotyping here, but do you not think that's exactly it?
Oh yeah.
Chosen that industry of campus it suits your
Because of that
personality type.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Not stereotyping.
Yeah, and your loss aversion, because you don't have as much crypto as I think you should have, based on your wealth.
We always have that conversation.
Yeah.
Cash out in stages and bits, and you, yeah.
I'm like,
always have that.
opportunity cost, Steve. Go it. Yeah. So, any other 100%? Wow.
11, 15, 24.
Out of all of them, which is the most? Do you have an 11 on yours?
Oh, 11.
No. Like, what is the out of all of them? Which is the worst?
I picked 4.
4.
But,
Ingroup bias, favouring members of your own group.
no, sorry, I picked 4.
Oh,
tens.
okay.
I had 4
So,
tens as well.
what's 110?
11.
Horns effect. Okay. How does that affect you?
Oh, for instance, if somebody does something that makes me think they're a dick, they're a dick.
Yeah, okay.
And it's going to take a lot to bring me back around.
Ah, okay. Nice. It is. Trust is hard.
Yeah.
You can never really get it back ever.
And for some reason, I was thinking of Donald Trump a lot when I've been answering. Which is weird.
What other
Well,
tens?
because I listened to his audiobook.
Yeah.
15. Oh, totally, yeah. Status quo, yeah, all day long. I hate change. 23.
This is an honest man.
Selfmemory.
You weren't that drunk?
Yes, Steve.
So basically, if I think I've done something embarrassing the night before, I'll just blank it out of my memory. Show someone.
That's a positive trait.
And 29. I think this was my highest one, 29.
Yeah.
Yeah, this should be 100 out of 10.
That's my 11.
I rarely fall for this. The last time I fell for this was when I last did a mass overhaul on my crypto seed phrases. Geez, it took a whole day. A whole day. Imagine writing out 3 copies. So if you take a 24-word seed password like the Casper ones, writing them out 3 times.
And really carefully.
Really carefully. But then you have, let's say, 20 wallets. There was one day I wrote like 5,000 words. I'm not exaggerating.
Each one, like, have I got that right?
Exactly. It took a whole day to write. Yeah. And so, yeah, anyway. Any other 10s, that they're prominent 10s in your lists, anyone? 22. 22. False to remember the source. How has that affected you? In what way? Or does it happen a lot for you?
Just a bad memory.
Very, fair one.
Yeah.
Any others?
Do I got 26 and 27 work?
26? Oh yeah, a lot of people fall for that.
Yeah, I think at this one I'm possibly 27. Yeah, really when my confidence was down.
Yeah.
So I had a big wake-up call that I'm always like, oh yes, you do the best for everyone. So the 3-3 just absolutely slotted right into
Made
my
sense.
thing. Everyone does what's right for everyone. And I can remember not just being, oh, look, people are saying, what are they doing, what's the picture? And at no point did I actually go, hang on a minute, your model of the world is not correct because everyone's doing something different. And I just clung on to it.
Yeah. And these two are tied together. Belief, perseverance, and naive realism, they're together pretty much.
Absolutely. It's very expensive learning.
You weren't on your own.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like climate change is a new divisive thing. So it could be belief, perseverance, you know, the world is dying, everyone, you know, climate change, all that sort of stuff. And naive realism, assuming that everyone else believes we're killing the planet, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, any topic, you've got that. Cool. Right. Sorry, we've got to. I just didn't anticipate my time. I went through that slow. Then I thought. So Danny Dabbler is suffering from all 37 of those biases. So me, and my little dog Pips came up with the trading tortoises, because I couldn't say trading turtles, because that's copyright now. So I came up with my own trading tortoises, and it's like I'm Splinter here. So we have Patience tortoise. Patience tortoise, he is stoic, shows self-restraint, has endurance, and is calm, composed and tolerant. He waits for trades to present themselves and is happy for the market to run its course. You need to be like Patience tortoise. And Disciplined tortoise, she is strict and ordered. She's controlled and drilled into everything she does. She plans what she's going to do, and she does what she planned to do. Plan the trade, trade the plan. She never breaks her rules and journals everything for future learning. Again, a very good tortoise. Snob tortoise. He has very high standards and is only interested in the elite trade setups. He turns his nose up at suboptimal setups and is strategic in thinking and thinks those that chase social media noise are plebs. So yeah, I like snob tortoise. Boring tortoise. She lacks variation. I've given actually the female ones, the boring ones, sorry, accidental. Yeah, there's some sort of bias there, no. She just lacks variation in her trading, but she sees that as a quality. She just keeps plodding forward, doing the same thing over and over. Repetitive, monotonous trading is her thing, but she's the most consistent trading tortoise here. Yeah, damn straight. Nonchalance tortoise. He doesn't give a... His positions are small enough that he is indifferent to any market outcome. He knows that over time his strategies are profitable due to positive expectancy and thus unconcerned with portfolio volatility. He's great friends with boring tortoise. Diligent, organized tortoise. She just loves being on top of everything. She journals and makes notes on all her trades and outcomes. She diligently studies her logs to glean any useful alpha, and when she finds a new asset, she dives deep to know everything about it. She's great mates with Disciplined tortoise. So really, they're the 6 tortoises that you should try and embody on the markets.